Hello, folks. How you doing? I've put some pictures up from the weekend that I've just been to, and I've done really well with the legends. And everyone's, well, quite a few people have messaged me saying, "I'm getting my legend tomorrow. I'm getting my legends in a couple of days' time. What are the best settings? Let me know, Sid, before I go." So I'm doing, just making this video as we go along, like of the settings I was using and the settings that I think are just brilliant. Absolutely love this machine. I really do. As soon as you use it, it's simple. You gel with it straight away. It's um, it's a cracking machine, and it performs, especially in tricky soil conditions. Um, it's still nice and stable even when it's tricky. Just drop the sensitivity down to about 25, 26. Um, there's not a lot you have to change. It just performs well. So right, it's just enough waffle. Let's just jump straight into the settings for you. So I'm using on the Legend a two-tone program, minimal discrimination of up to 8. The tone break set at 8, so you're eliminating the iron, and everything else is a digger. Um, I've tried to lower that to 7 because iron finishes about 6. Depends on the iron, but finishes about 6. So if you have it at 7, sometimes it's too close and you get a bit of a mix-up signal. So by putting it at 8, you eliminate iron. It's not messing you about. Nice, easy searching. The only thing that could pest you, which you can put a tone break in, 11, which can be coke. Um, when it's coke, on your ferrous check, it will be on the left-hand side, and it'll be 11, and it will be coke, and it's likely to be coke. You could still get a good target under 11 with a ferrous checker on the ferrous side, on the left. It's never guaranteed that it's definitely going to be coke, but I've found that if it's 11 and it's on the right-hand side, it's not coke. But that it depends on the field. So you can ignore the 11s if you want, but if you're on a prime bit of land, dig everything that's not if it's an iron tone, it's iron. If it's not an iron tone, dig it unless you want to ignore the 11s, which could be coke. I'm using field mode. I've got the multi-frequency of 2. You're getting good separation, the recovery speed, and you're still getting decent depth. If you wanted to speed things up and go even faster, you can go into the part mode. You can change recovery speed. On my program, I'll be using 7, which is a good all-round. You're getting good separation and decent depth. But you could go, if you wanted to go even faster. Also, part mode is less sensitive, so if you are getting a bit of erratic performance, which I haven't experienced on the Legend, but if you are getting that, going into part mode will stabilise the machine a bit because it's not punching as much into the ground. Well, let's jump into the settings and have a look. But so far, the Legend is a dream to use. It's tricky soil conditions. It runs well. It's stable. It's getting the tiny little targets in amongst all the mineralisation and iron. What I found, which I like to hear, it's giving everything it's telling you is what's happening in the ground. There's not a lot of falsing going on. If you're on a tricky soil conditions and you're getting the yeah, you're getting the iron grunts everywhere, but you get a little chirp come through. If you can hone in on that little chirp with your coil, just give it a little sweep, and you can make that nearly repeat. If it sort of repeats, even though you're getting the iron tone, dig it, and you guarantee you'll be getting little bits of iron in the ground with that tiny little target. Obviously, the lower the numbers, the smaller the target's going to be. I had a cut half hammer coin in tricky conditions, minerals and iron, and I think that was coming in at 17. So it's low numbers. Brilliant, I loved it. So put these settings in, and I guarantee you'll have an awesome time with the Legend. Let's have a look. Okay, so my settings are field mode, ground as your discrimination pattern. You do the discrimination pattern by the top left button. You've got, hold on a second, me back out. You do the discrimination pattern from your top left button here. You've got ferrous, that eliminates all the ferrous. You've got custom, which you can customise to suit you with different tone breaks, etc. Then you've got all metal, which is exactly that. Everything's open, you can hear everything. And then you've got ground, which is just eliminating the first 2 segments, which will be the mineralisation or the grain feedback. There's no point listening to grain feedback because there's no value in that. You want to be listening to all the iron. So long as you can hear the iron in the ground, if you're walking across a quiet field and then you start to hear iron, you know you're into occupation, so you slow down and start digging all the tricky signals and stuff. So yeah, ground discrimination pattern is awesome. You want multi-frequency 2, which is brilliant for the tiny targets in amongst mineralisation and iron and that. So it's more a higher kilohertz. M1 is aimed towards a lower kilohertz. Still got the high kilohertz in there, but it's aimed towards a low kilohertz. And M2 is aimed towards a high kilohertz. And I'm using a recovery speed of 7. So let's just scroll through these now. So get your menu up. There is your noise cancel. To do a noise cancel, frequency shift, you can push up and down and just select a stable frequency. Or if you want, you can just hold the button down for 3 seconds, then let go, and it does an automatic scan for you and finds the most stable frequency, so you're not getting any EMI. That only takes a few seconds. I think it goes up to number 14. There you go, it's found number 2 to be the most stable. Okie dokie, so now we're going to go across to the next one, which is recovery speed. As I said, recovery speed of 7. Next one is the volume. Always have your volume on full. For me anyway, I like to hear everything banging out. Go across again. This is your main settings now. You've got your tones, which is there. So we're in a 2-tone. So all you're going to hear is iron, and when it finishes at 8, everything from 9 up to 60 is a good tone, and they really bang out. Go across the volume. The volume of your good targets is full at 10. The volume of the iron is at 1. So this side 1, this side 10. Push the middle button to go back, and then you can go across to the next one now. Push the right button, and this is your pitch. Change the pitch of the tones, so push up, push left, so the iron tone is at 2, a low grunt, and then all the other tones are high pitch, and these jump out at you. At 27, it just seems really nice audio, and the signals will just pop and jump out. You're not missing anything. Okay, so push the middle button, that's set. And we're going to go across to this. Tone breaks. So yeah, we've ignored the ground, and then we've got a discrimination up to 8, and everything else is good. But this is where we set that, where the tone breaks are. So push up. So from 0 to 8 is the number 2 iron tone, even though we've discriminated the 2 with the ground discrimination. So go to that one, set that at 8. Yeah, simple as that. The last 2 you don't need to do, because that's the threshold volume and threshold pitch. So back to the detect screen. Sensitivity, can't do it in the garden because there's a lot of EMI, but you want to be running that as high as you can without it doing this. If it's constantly doing that, you've got your sensitivity too high. So say if it was in the field, I'd be happy with that, 21. But when you're in the field, turn it up until it's nice and stable. But you don't want it to be going mad and just chirping for no reason. But you always try and run it as high as you can, your sensitivity. Just quickly talk you through this. This is you select different frequencies, the kilohertz that you're running at. But I'd always try and say, use multi-frequency where you can. Multi-frequency 1 is weighted towards the lower frequencies, so it's the lower kilohertz, which is better for the large conductors, silver coins, big relics, and multi-frequency 2 is weighted towards the higher kilohertz, which is going to be better for the tiny targets in amongst mineralisation and iron, for you to be able to pick out them little targets. But this 2-tone program I have found has suited me down to a T. We've been on really tricky soil in Lincolnshire over this last 4 days. There was a Dias 2, there was a Dias 1, there was Equinox, there was a CTX. all the machines there. Wait for that motorbike to go past. And there's CTX. All the machines there, all the people that was using these different machines were saying, yeah, it's really sparky, it's really noisy. There's a lot of mineralisation, a lot of iron in the ground. So I've used the Deus 2 all weekend. Had some nice finds, and I thought on the last day I'm going to take the Legend out and see if it performs on these tricky conditions, because I know if it struggles here, it's not going to be a machine for me, because when you're after the good stuff, the ancient finds with all these historical artifacts and coins that have been dropped, is going to be in these tricky conditions where there's a lot of iron and a lot of mineralisation. And I was, fingers crossed, I walked out and think, come on, let's see how it performs. Turned it on, put in my programs that I've already made up on previous hunts, the two-tone that I've just told you about. Walked along, it was just quite as amazing. You could hear, I like to hear a little chirp, but it wasn't erratic. It was just telling me what's going on in the ground. And as soon as I got a signal, bah, 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 it was jumping out at me. So I was like, I'm loving this. This is performing perfect. It's stable. It was more stable than the Deus 2, but I think that's just down to a couple of updates needed. And it was a pleasure to use, and I absolutely smashed it. I got hammered coins, I got loads of medieval stuff, Saxon stirrup mount. I've got loads, which you'll see in the previous video that I put up, or it might be before this video or after this video. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, the Legend is doing what it says it's meant to do. It's ticking all the boxes. It's performing well. Only slight gripe would be, after using the Deus and then going to the Legend, there is a little bit of extra weight. But the Deus 2 is renowned for being so light. I'm not saying this is heavy. It's not heavy at all, the Legend, but it's just not as light as a Deus. But you're talking £800-900 difference. Yeah, the Legend. If you get the Legend and you don't like it, I don't know what you're doing wrong, because it's absolutely cracking machine. So yeah, let me know how you get on. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy the settings. If you have some nice stuff with the settings, let me know how you're getting on. If you're getting good or bad, let me know. And if you need any help with different settings and stuff like that, let me know, and I'll try and point you in the right direction. All right, thanks for watching, peeps. See you soon. Ta-da.